listening to the Maddox Podcast, hosted by the Maddox Real Estate Team, Jason Maddox, Jamie Abitia, and Katrina Pryor, presented by Painless Podcast. To learn more about our services, check out our website at maddoxrealestate.com.
Every city, town, and community is unique, but no city truly stands out for being one of a kind, quite like Berkeley, California. Known for its free speech movement of the 1960s, as well as its many quirky features and people, Berkeley is a city that every person in the Bay Area will take a day trip to at some point in their lives. On today's episode, the Maddox Team talks about the perks of living in such a diverse city, as well as the many attractions that the city has to offer. Are you thinking of buying in Berkeley? Well, then this episode's for you.
Before we get started on our podcast, here's Robert Ring with our Market in a Minute.
Okay, so we have a few quick things to get to with this week's Mortgage Market Minute. To start with, rates are still hovering around 2.5% to 3% in that range on most products. Some are a little bit lower than that, and they continue to go in a downward trend. They're not going down in a straight line, so it's not like every week you see them continue to drop, but every few weeks they seem to go down just a little bit more. The mortgage rates are really driven by bad news in the economy that pushes money into the bond market, and so eventually you will see us come out of this when the economy gets back on track. But every time there's a little bit of good news, like a stimulus bill or COVID vaccinations coming out, mortgage rates don't do so well. They start to go up a little bit, and that's because money pulls out of the bond market and goes into the stock market. But what we're seeing over and over again is every time we have a little bit of good news, we have a little bit of bad news. So it's not sustaining itself, and it's continuing to push us in a lower rate trend. And I think we'll continue to see that for at least another year.
So when we think of Berkeley, what comes to mind first?
Wait, which is my glass of wine?
That one.
This one?
Yep.
This is the St. Francis?
That's the St. Francis.
Are we starting with St. Francis?
Let's start with St. Francis. That's Sam. No, Sam's got the ghetto cup.
Because
sorry.
we are in wine about the bay.
There's only 3 of us.
That's okay.
Sam, you can have this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. Sam, you get a good cup.
I get 2 now.
Yeah.
I mean, priorities, right? So St. Francis. So this is a Zinfandel. Actually, a client of mine gave this to me. It's a really nice bottle of wine. It's about $50. So we all try it. And
Well, let's cheers first.
Cheers.
Cheers to episode 4.
Yes.
Okay. I think it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love it.
So St. Francis is actually in Sonoma, the city of Sonoma. I really love going to the square. So Sonoma Square, you're walking around, and there's a little cheese shop, just really extraordinary restaurants in Sonoma. You keep going down the main road. Of course, I don't know the name of it. And you run into St. Francis Winery. Really beautiful winery, great wines. It's a really great experience. Just beautiful ground. You know, I love like an ambiance of a winery.
Yeah.
Really beautiful grounds, great wine. So it's a really nice combination. And when you're getting out of the Napa and St. Helena, you can completely take a different direction into Sonoma. St. Francis is really one of my go-to wineries there.
You worked in Sonoma for like a long time too, right?
Well, I worked at Sonoma State University.
Right.
Yeah.
When were you introduced to this winery, or when did you first visit?
I don't know. It was ages. I've been going to Sonoma, obviously, for just a long time. But St. Francis, like I said, just a really nice winery that also has really good wines, which is sometimes it's hard to find a great winery experience with really good wine. St. Francis is one of them.
Awesome.
And this is a delicious Zinfandel.
Really delicious. 2015.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So we're gonna do what, high and low today. So this is a $50 bottle of wine. We like this one.
Yeah, I think the next episode we're gonna do it like a blind taste test. We have a $125 bottle of Raymond, and then we have a $10 bottle
of Snoop Dogg's
19
Crimes.
So that's gonna be actually really cool.
We'll do that on the next one. This one's delicious.
Yeah, this is really delicious. Okay.
$50, that's a good gift wine.
Yeah, it's nice. Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, so back to Berkeley.
All right, so when we think of Berkeley, what comes to mind first?
It's very unique. What would you say?
No. So the first thing I think of is that's where I met Cliff. That's where I met my husband, playing pool one night, actually with your sister.
Yeah.
What was the place called? What was that pool place called?
I called it Thalassa. It was TH, so maybe Thalassa.
It's right.
It's the pool bar. It's not there anymore.
It's not, but it was
a bar now.
But it was on Telegraph. Was it on Telegraph?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know anything like the back of my hand.
I think it was on.
Is it
it
near?
was on Telegraph.
Is it near
Avenue.
Jupiter, or is Jupiter even there anymore?
Jupiter's
off
there. Jupiter's fantastic.
Off University.
I think we've been there before.
Yeah.
Playing pool and stuff.
So yeah, I mean,
Desert.
completely changed life direction in Berkeley. Of course, when we were young and in high school, you'd go to Berkeley because it was just a cool place to hang out. Rocky Horror Picture Show played like once a month on a certain Friday.
I wish I would have experienced that. I never did.
It was a huge, like sing along, and it was just the cool thing to do before we had, computers and and entertainment and Netflix. We didn't have that then. You just go to the theater and watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, and everybody would sing in the audience, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, there's just a lot of memory. I mean, there's just so many just cool various shops. There was a place called Headlines that I used to go to. It was before Amazon, and it was just a quirky shop that you would go to and walk around.
Headlines. What was that?
It was just one of those kind of like, they would call it like the curiosity shops. It was just a little bit of everything, and there was naughty things in there. And when you're young, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm looking at this. But it just had everything. I mean, it was kind of a one-stop shop. All the young folks would go there, and it was just super cool. But Berkeley's, having the university there, UC Berkeley, there's just a vibe, there's an energy, it's just so diverse. And of course, the history of the free speech movement, and it's still very vocal. I mean, the young folks that are getting out and protesting and having their voices heard on the streets of Berkeley is, it's phenomenal. It's really amazing to see.
It's diverse in not only, culture, but experiences too. You could go to Berkeley. I think of Berkeley where I go for tattoos and piercings and
Zebra, right?
Zebra, yes.
Oh,
when you're
Zebra.
a teenager, I got my belly button pierced at Zebra when I was 16. That was like the thing to do. Everybody went to Zebra. I've gotten a couple tattoos in Berkeley. Always seem to end up at the shops there. But it's super cool. You mentioned there's a lot of cool restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think of food, right? But I just kind of miss the time when the people were in school, kids were in school and stuff, in the university, and the what is the street that like Fat Slice is on? What is that? Is that that's
Telegraph.
Is that Telegraph?
Yeah.
It is Telegraph. Okay.
So Blondie's,
Fat Slice. Rasputin's used to be over there. We used to go over there and look at the newest music. I mean, that was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, going through the albums, like, ooh, Duran Duran's got their new album out.
I mean, the guys like spray painting like these really cool art pieces on the street. That kind of stuff. Like, it's just fun. Just to go
street
out. Street
vendors.
vendors, and that's what I think of Berkeley. I love that. Of course, I was born in Berkeley, raised in Albany, so we used to walk up Solano Avenue and have there used to be an Oaks Theater over there.
Mm-hmm.
Our mom worked there when she was in high school with Melinda Tatro, I think it was
Really?
Melinda. Yeah, that's how I knew each other back in high school.
She worked at Walker's Pie Shop too, but that's on Solano.
It's on Solano.
Technically Albany.
It's technically
Albany.
Solano like turns into Berkeley. Like I think when you pass like Zachary's Pizza or somewhere over there.
Turns into Berkeley.
Turns into Berkeley. Yeah. But yeah, again, Zachary's Pizza. There's a Barney's Burger over there. I mean, just
Barney's. I remember going there as a kid. You would take me to Berkeley a lot.
I took you just to kind of give you the experience of it and stuff. Yeah, and the food and.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of an amazing place.
Yeah, and so now we have listings, we have buyers in Berkeley, and there's a trajectory. There's definitely an uptick. Berkeley's so desirable to be in that when we're helping buyers land homes there, has to be very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the tools, as I say. We've got the tool belt in order to make a competitive offer, because it's just such an attractive place for folks to want to be. And a lot of people are moving out from San Francisco. They're looking in Berkeley specifically to be near, everything that Berkeley has to offer.
Well, you were saying your clients just bought a house on Grant.
On Grant, literally right around the corner.
And they were most excited that they were next to Cheeseboard Pizza.
Right, which we have here today, and Jamie brought, and it's amazing.
So Cheeseboard, if you don't know, is a really, really popular pizza shop. They also have a bakery on site too. But the pizza shop is super cool. In a normal world with no COVID, they have live music. and you can walk up, get pizza, salad. But the cool thing is that they only have one type of pizza per day. So no matter, if you go on a Wednesday, they're going to have the same type of pizza all day on that Wednesday. If you go on Thursday, it's going to change. So I actually picked this up yesterday, and I'm looking up.
It's good even cold.
I know, it's cold. It's amazing.
I know, and I'm bummed.
No, it's fine. It was great. Last night we were drinking a lot, practicing for this, and we had some of this last night. So it's even more amazing when you're drunk and it's hot, right? So, but it's so amazing. Another thing, Berkeley they just have such great, diverse food and just different everything. I mean, I can't even. So many things to think about.
I don't know what this pizza is. I lost it because it was yesterday's pizza. But it's a good pizza. And the nice thing, too, is it's always vegetarian. It's not quite vegan because of the cheese and everything, but it's always vegetarian. They always have very unique flavors. I know this one has cremini mushrooms, parsley, a lemon garlic.
Yeah.
A lemon garlic olive oil, something in there. But it's just super cool. Parmesan, maybe. But it's a really, really cool pizza, and it's always very good. My favorite thing was being a high schooler. We would always, for some reason, we always thought that Friday had the best pizza days there. So we would leave school and drive, and somebody would go pick up a big pizza for us and bring it back for lunch. I went to school at St. Mary's, so we weren't too far, and not everybody had a car, so we always had to send the one with the car.
Right.
But yeah, it's great.
That's
and
cool.
So in terms of attractions at Berkeley, of course, Tilden Park. So Tilden
Is Tilden the one with the train and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
And the zoo.
I remember that as a kid. I love that.
So there's a merry-go-round, right? My kids still love going to the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
You do the merry-go-round, and then there's a little steam, the mini steam train that goes through, the hills, and it's super fun. It's such a great day out. There's so much to do over at Tilden that a lot of folks just don't even get around to. Sometimes you live in the East Bay and you're like, oh, I've never really been there. Or what train? Or what are you even talking about? Steam
it's really
train?
popular for school field trips. So I went there a lot as a kid. We would have class parties there, school field trips. But what's funny is that my boyfriend John Luke had never been there, and he only grew up in Pleasant Hill. And we were driving by the Orinda side, and I said, "Oh, Tilden Park, I missed. I loved it there when I was a kid." And he's like, "What's Tilden Park? I've never heard of it."
Did you guys go?
No, we didn't go.
Oh, you guys gotta go.
I know, we will. We did. We just actually left a hike, so we weren't going to go hike again. But we actually did a really great hike near the Claremont. We did. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it's literally you hike up the hill and you're overlooking the Claremont. You're overlooking the hills and just the scenery. It's so beautiful, and it's a decent little hike up there. But yeah, the Claremont's another great place in Berkeley.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I had ever been to the Claremont until I was an adult. So.
Well, we don't hike around the Claremont, but we go for cocktails.
We go for cocktails and food. Shocker.
Jamie goes on the hikes, and we cheers her on.
Right.
No, they have a great restaurant there called Limewood.
Is that where Paragon used to be? What's that one now?
If you're talking about the one that was in the back, was that Paragon? And
no, Paragon was in the front, in it.
Oh no, then that's Limewood.
That's Limewood now.
Yeah, it has the balcony where you overlook, and it has the most gorgeous sunsets. Yeah. We went right before they closed just to kind of support and get out and see a sunset, and we had to go for senior dinner at 4:30 because the sunset's so early now. But it was gorgeous to have some drinks and just see the most gorgeous sunset. You really can't go wrong there, and their food's great.
Yeah. I just remember a martini watching the sun go down. Oh my God! So that's my dream.
And it's not far.
And then after a hike, of course.
Of course.
Right.
Of course. No, it's a really good one. So in Tilden, speaking of Tilden, so there's Inspiration Point. Now you go to Inspiration Point for one thing, but then there's, but just right off of Inspiration Point, just as you're pulling in and you're parking, and then right off to the left, there is a trail. You can go. You're hiking. You can bike. Back when I used to move my body, I loved taking that trail, and you just see the most beautiful views of the East Bay. You're just right on top of the hill. It's really stunning, and I'd ride my bike, go on a hike.
Yeah.
That's just another trail. That's, if anybody knows about it, go to Inspiration Point, right off to the left. Take that trail there. It's stunning.
Yeah. No, Tilden's great. And do they have the petting zoo? Or they have farm animals?
Yes.
They used to.
Yes, they do. They still have that. It's been probably a year or two since I've taken the kids.
I think you could milk a cow there before, right?
I don't know about that.
But you can.
No, you could. I remember
You could
that.
milk a cow?
Yes, back
Oh,
in
wow.
the day.
Yeah.
Probably they set that up for schools and such. And then they have.
You could take carrots and you can feed the cows, and it's Tilden it's an awesome place to get out and see.
And then there's a golf course, I believe, too. Yeah, I'll take some. Which is great.
fill her up.
It's literally whoever wants to go there could find something to do. Mm-hmm. I know.
And then what else? So Berkeley Marina. Berkeley Marina. That's.
Are you going to share some of your stories from the Berkeley Marina, Katrina?
No.
You have Berkeley Marina stories?
No, I'm not.
We heard these last night.
Oh, yeah.
That's for Maddox podcast After Dark.
That's After Dark.
It's not that bad, folks.
Oh, stop.
No, it's just some
It's so good to be back.
It was
old-fashioned
It's just a little kissing spot.
Old-fashioned.
necking.
Old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned necking.
Back in the day when life was in black and white.
With the first husband,
Takes a big sip.
who may be coming today, and stopping by to thank me for selling his last 2 properties. So that'll be fun.
That's cool. Let's bring him on as a guest.
Yeah. Hey.
That would be a great topic.
Oh my
We could
gosh.
talk about Inspiration Point.
And back to Berkeley. What other things?
So let's talk restaurants. Let's go back to restaurants for a minute. If you're going to Berkeley, you mentioned a couple places. What are your favorite restaurants? Probably one of my favorite spots is Jupiter. Jupiter is amazing. You can go there and have pizza, which we obviously love. You can go. They're known for their beers.
Oh, okay, good. I just something came in.
Remember that because you'll forget it. They're known for their beers, but you can go and have wine, drinks, whatever. And they have a nice little outside patio. They do have music sometimes. They have fire pits. It's just lights everywhere. I think they have fire pits. Am I imagining that? But it's just gorgeous. It's such a great little spot for date night, gathering with friends. I used to go there a lot with my East Bay Coffee friends. We'd all go there after a long day of them working. And we'd head there and just hang out and chill for the night.
So one of my new favorite spots, I went there maybe 6 to 8 months ago. I don't know. Angeline's.
Oh, the New Orleans place?
Right.
Holy crap! The
Yes.
food was so good. You just want to slap your mama. I mean, it was amazing.
That's on Telegraph.
It's on
Angeline's,
Telegraph.
New Orleans. I mean, you get jambalaya, gumbo, beignets.
Yeah.
It's such a cool atmosphere and
Such
experience.
a cool atmosphere. I had
I
such
went-
a great time that night.
Yeah.
I went one time. It was the best part of the night. It was a terrible date, but it was a great food.
Yeah.
So I remember
So we
that.
should all just go for fun and just hang out and do
Yeah.
that because
And my husband's family's from New Orleans. So, and I'm teaching Zachary how to say it correctly. It's New Orleans.
No.
Yeah, it's New Orleans.
No.
And so, that's a great place. It's super fun to go.
Your daughter's name is Nola.
Yes, it is. Yep. That's kind of our homage to where his family's from. It's one of my favorite places to go.
Yeah. So I've never
And
been there.
I can't believe you've never
I've
been.
even been there.
I've never been there. Kent's been there.
It's
played
one of my
volleyball there.
favorite. I mean, it's just one of
I'd
my.
love
I mean,
to go.
it's just eclectic and it's fun and there's music and food
It's so
and
upbeat. We saw a funeral and it was a marching band. Everybody's celebrating, and
Yes.
somebody just died.
so much history and just the French Quarter in and of itself. And then when you start venturing out, that's a whole other topic.
I know.
I think we need to take Maddox podcast to New Orleans.
Oh,
I think so too.
I am
Yeah.
down.
But in the meantime, we'll stick to Berkeley because, like we've been saying, Berkeley is definitely an amazing place. Now, there's a concern that the price points in Berkeley are getting so high that it might be starting to kind of push some folks, away.
Yeah.
I recently sold a property. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on Acton, what they call Poets Corner. Beautiful home. And it sold for $1 million. And one of the concerns in Berkeley is it gentrifying, right?
Was that how many beds and bathrooms?
2-bedroom,
2-bedroom,
1-bath.
2-bedroom.
$1
okay.
million.
And I don't. And if I remember correctly, did it really even have a lot? Like, didn't it
Small,
have
and it was really cute. It was
Yeah.
a private, cute lot, but that's one of the things is, people are considering the price points and Albany is also starting to,
Right.
kind of tick up price point wise. And people are starting to kind of push out a little bit more and a little bit further out, Albany, El Cerrito, then we're starting to get into San Pablo and whatnot. But folks still find the value in wanting to be in Berkeley. And when we have buyers who say, this is where we want to be, We make sure that we show them, the properties that are available. We talk to them about the strategy. If it's a multi-offer situation, we're going to do everything that we know how to do to make the most competitive offer for them. And if it's for a seller, then of course what we want to do is we're always going to have their best interest in mind. What is the best that we can get on your return? Because every home is an investment.
Right.
It's your place to live, but we also recognize that it is your biggest investment most likely, and we always want to have the highest return on that.
You said your client bought the 2-in-1. What was it listed at, and what did it go for? Or what was the difference?
So I was the listing agent on that particular one.
That was Acton.
Yes.
What about your clients in Berkeley? Because I noticed that over here in kind of the Pinole Hercules area, the market, people definitely list under and sell over, but I feel like that gets more drastic and dramatic as we go towards Berkeley and then into Oakland. Things are selling 20 or 30% over, which I think is really important for clients that are kind of looking in different areas. They have to learn the different markets, right? Because it's not a one size fits all.
Well, I mean, there was a property so I have these clients, and they were all cash up to 1.3, no contingencies, close in 5 days. We couldn't get into a property in Berkeley. There was like one property that was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and then it had a garage with a loft on top, things like that. And I think that one went for like $2 million. Everybody was shocked about that. They're like, we can't even believe it, right? So anyway, that's that. And my clients decided, you know what, we're going to do a loan for some of it. We're just going to come in with 1.3 cash, and we're just going to do a loan for the rest of it. So we ended up landing in a property on Grant, and they were super excited because they love to take their families, their 2 little girls, for walks and things like that. So they're right near, Cheeseboard and all the good stuff in Berkeley. But we ended up. I don't remember what that property was listed for. I'm gonna say it was like 1.3, 1.4. We got it for 1.8. Yeah. So just kind of give you an idea of the
competitive nature
over there, but I mean Berkeley's a specific buyer. So and our buyer for that property, they came from San Francisco. Most of the people that are coming into Berkeley are coming from San Francisco because San Francisco's so crazy right now, and Berkeley's such a cool place to be, even though people are just it's got some bad press right now and things like that. But and we could use a little bit of change, but that's always going to happen. Real quick, since we're on the Berkeley topic, I want to dive into 4th Street really quick. That's another really cool place to just get up in the morning and go to Betty's.
Is it Oceanfront Diner or
Betty's Oceanfront, something like that? Betty's Diner.
You will always wait outside.
Oh, yeah.
And at first I was like, why are we waiting outside for Is it Ocean View? Betty's Ocean View Diner?
Okay, yeah.
I'm asking my husband, why are we standing out here for 30 minutes for some eggs?
Right.
And then I get in and I realize it's not just eggs.
Yeah, it's the eggs, and it's those buttermilk pancakes. And
it is so good, and it's a fun environment. You can watch the chefs, and they're cooking up the meals, and that's a great place.
Really,
that's
really
where you go for your makeup, right? So they have the benefit, and they have Mac, and at Christmas time, it's all lit up. Yeah. That's just another great place. Z Gallery. I don't know if it's still there, but Z Gallery, that's my jam.
And Sur la Table.
Yeah.
That's there. Yeah, that's a really fun place to go.
So sometimes, at Pete's Coffee, there'll be like musicians out front playing, and then there's that one cheese shop.
Oh,
I think I brought up cheese a few times already in this podcast. So
I know. Is it cheese? There's the pasta shop, but
right?
And
they have a whole cheese counter.
It's by Pete's, right? It's kind of in the back a little bit.
Yes, and they have a whole cheese counter, so you can go and get a picnic.
Tons of different kinds of cheeses to try, and that is fun.
Yeah, so 4th Street is a great place just to go and have brunch, walk around, enjoy your day. Oh, and then they have. I took my kids. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what it's called. They have lizards and. Help me out. I can't remember what it's...
On 4th Street?
Yes. There's reptiles. It's like a reptile shop. They let you hold a lot of the animals.
No,
so
but
you
that sounds awesome.
I didn't know that.
There's no charge. You just go and you can hold like all of these little critters. It's almost like a little petting zoo, but it's a shop.
What?
Whatever it's called.
How do I know?
It's super fun.
Vivarium.
Yes. What is that? The Vivarium.
And that's on 4th Street.
It's just like, it's on 4th Street. It's just like right off on a little side street from
fun.
4th Street.
I love that.
And
that'd be fun.
I mean, you just go, and I think there is a charge actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So for like 15 minutes, you can hold whatever animals they have available to pet and hold. And yeah, it's just, 4th Street is a good time.
Really good fun. I love going there in the morning, just getting up early and going, just go get some coffee
Something
and
to
take a
do,
little walk.
get out of the
Get out of the
house.
house. It's super fun. And then we were going to go to Betty's, and then you suggested another place. Is that in Berkeley or is that in Albany? That place you suggested that we actually went to, and we were talking about our voting. What we're going to vote for.
Oh, Sam's Log Cabin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they actually they have outdoor dining, so we were able to, during COVID, we were able to go. It's on San Pablo. I just recently discovered it.
Okay.
It's right on San Pablo Avenue, right at Albany. It's called Sam's Log Cabin. I think it's been there for like probably 100 years. They have. Okay, you can tell that we're foodies. They have like cornbread pancakes.
That's what was so good. Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
That sounds ridiculous.
Amazing.
Founded in 1912.
1912, Sam's Log Cabin. So as soon as they lift the restrictions where you can have outdoor dining again, check it out. It's like you're in grandma's backyard.
Yeah,
So
that was fun.
There's a garden in the backyard. They're growing their own herbs and vegetables and fruits, and you're just sitting in. It literally is like somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
And having brunch or lunch. It's
And you can bring your dog.
Yeah.
I brought my dog.
They welcome furry friends to.
As long as they're
there.
behaved.
Right. Not like yours.
Mine's not behaved.
But
No.
he's nice.
He barks at other dogs, but you know.
Sits at the table like he's a
Yeah.
human.
So that's another place, just right there, right off of Albany. There's just so, I mean, we could go on and on and on about
Yeah.
how, all of the different places to go.
One more place that we went to. Sorry, I dropped my napkin. The sake tasting. Talk about that a little bit, because that was so much fun. I had never done that before. It gave me a whole appreciation for sake. Mm-hmm. Katrina and we went on a
date night.
A date night, and we go ahead and tell us all about it.
So one of our New Year's resolutions last year is my husband and I were like, we're going to do date nights. Like, we're going to have like planned dates. Of course, they have to include Jason and Ken. So, because that's what we do.
That's right.
Okay, so I was like, okay, what if we do like a Japanese date night? So we're gonna go to San Francisco, and I found an onsen, which is like a bath, like a Japanese bathhouse. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of strange, and we'll see what happens. But it was a really high end. Like, we had a beautiful Japanese dinner. They took us to the back, and then there was like this big hot tub.
There was a huge like tub.
Took us to the back.
Well, I know it sounds totally seedy, and I think it's like in the Mission. But,
Right.
But
it was really high end.
it was
really nice.
very high end.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, and then you go to the back, and they have people are there to give you, your slippers, and you're going into this hot tub, and the whole environment. You're like in this like outdoor setting, and you're chilling in the hot tub after dinner.
Yeah.
And it's a Japanese onsen. So I was like, okay, so I like that. Now what are we going to do before that? And in Berkeley, they have a place. I don't know the name of it, of course. It's because I don't know the name of anything. But they have sake tasting. Not only do they have sake tasting, but they have a museum there of sake preparation and the history of sake.
And that's what makes it so much fun, because you get to see how they do this, the process of creating this, and that's such an art form, right? Just rice and just how they make this. And then, like, I'm not a huge sake fan. Like, I have never really been, but like learning about it and then doing the tasting, and there's so many different types of sake.
And they all taste
different. That you learn to like love one of them. And I go, okay, I found two that I absolutely love, and we're gonna buy 2 bottles of that because it's actually
this one's too dry.
Is it
amazing.
Addison Street?
Yeah, and it's like near Gilman.
I think so.
Addison and
Takara
Gilman.
sake?
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to
Super
make
fun.
a reservation.
Takara? I don't know if that's how you say it. Takara sake?
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Did you love it?
Yeah.
So fun.
good.
It was.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, so you get there, you have to make reservations, and then in the back, there's the whole museum, and then they have like from like the board of directors from like 1920. I mean, they have just the history.
They have a little video that you sit and watch, a little movie.
And then they direct you to a table, and they literally have like 10 or 15 different sakes to taste, and which ones you like and which ones you don't. And you're kind of at this communal table. And so when you first show up, nobody's talking talking to each other. Everybody's kind of giving each other kind of respectful glances like, hi, I'm Katrina, how are you?
Right.
And then by the end of it, everybody's like hugging and like, oh my God, this is the best experience ever.
You're drinking sake, right? So everybody's like starting to get a little loosened up, and then everybody's talking about where they're from and talking about the sake, and it's fun to just talk to people you don't know and try to and get their their take on sake and what they think and all that stuff.
Right.
And so it was
and then
a really
we
fun
ran
time.
out to go to our onsen. And so we had like a full-on Japanese date night. So
It was fun. It was fun.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that dinner was great.
It was so good.
It was a really nice dinner.
Right.
You and John Luke should do something like that.
We will. And he's Japanese, so
he'll really
love
appreciate
that.
it.
I don't know about the baths part.
Oh no, it was so fun.
It was fun. It wasn't
really
creepy
great.
at all.
It was not seedy
No.
at all.
What is CD?
CD. Not
CDs.
Not two CDs.
Like nasty.
Two CDs? Like
Seedy. Like
CDs,
nasty.
oh.
CDs. SEED. Why is that how you spell CD?
I don't know. I've never heard CD before.
It's not CD, it's CD.
Oh,
Nasty.
nasty. Oh, okay. No, it's nothing like that. It was a very high end.
Right.
I mean, they give you your. Oh, Jesus, sorry. Sorry, I'm
Go home,
Yeah. Guess I'm starting to loosen up a little bit. Anyway, sorry. So no, it was just
Back to Berkeley.
really,
All right,
really
back
fun.
to Berkeley.
Okay.
So, cool thing about Berkeley is obviously the location, right? You're right pretty much in the center of everything. You're not far from the city. If you could do enough in Berkeley, but if you wanted to go to even Oakland to kind of get out of your own town and experience something different, there's a lot there. You're not far from Richmond Marina. You could take the ferry over to San Francisco. There's just, it's such
Transportation. It's like a transportation hub. You can
It's
get
awesome.
anywhere.
And then the cool thing too is the architecture, right? Kind of the history of the city, and I think you have a really good example of that house that you sold, where the architecture was just incredible. I mean, it's like nothing you've ever seen.
You're talking about that was El Cerrito.
Oh, was that El Cerrito? Oh, I thought that was in Berkeley.
No.
Well, when I think Berkeley, I think Albany, El Cerrito. I kind of couple
Something
everything.
like this should have been in there though.
Yeah. Oh, that was in El Cerrito.
It was El Cerrito. Yeah, it was designed by an Italian architect, built for the founders and owners of Mechanics Bank.
Super cool house.
Back
I thought
in
I was thinking that was in Berkeley.
1925 or 20 something. Yeah, but that was in El Cerrito.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a cool spot.
That is a cool spot. Okay, let's see.
How are we doing? Let's see.
I know. We're just focused on our wine. Well, okay, so when I think of Berkeley, I also think of, like we said, Solano Avenue kind of splits Albany. When I went to school at St. Mary's, half of the school was literally in Berkeley and half of the school was in Albany. So I feel like you kind of include Albany in the mix with that.
Yeah, when I think of Albany, I think of Berkeley.
Yeah.
And vice versa. In Solano, again, I grew up, I was a little kid. We used to walk up Solano all the time, and we would go see, I think I saw Ghostbusters when that came out. That's how that dates me. Ghostbusters was in the theater. We saw it for my birthday. And then, and
Not the remake.
not the remake, the original, and not one or not two or three, number one. And we, when we were kids, we saw that movie, and then we walked up Solano and had there used to be an ice cream shop that when you walked in, you just get this smell of waffles because they did the waffle, the waffle bowls with the ice cream. Oh my gosh! So of course, as a kid, that's heaven. So we used to do fun stuff like that. And then, of course, when you're a kid, anything you do that involves pizza is amazing. So Zachary's Pizza.
Barney's Burgers.
Barney's Burgers. I don't know if Barney's Burgers was actually there when I was a kid.
Oh, when you were a kid? I don't know that. But I remember us going there.
I would take you there.
There's also a Barney's deeper in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And then, so I went to St. Mary's and we would walk to Solano. That was pretty much the furthest distance that we could get and still get back on time from lunch. So we'd get there, order something real quick. And Gordo's Burritos, or Gordo's Taqueria, was a really great spot. Some of the best burritos you'll ever have. Go there. Mom used to work at Walker's Pie Shop, and I think Walker's was there up until, if it's not still there.
It's not there. It's not there now.
It was there for a long time.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she knew the owners. The owner was the Walker person, But I remember when I was a kid, Mom would work there and then bring home like blueberry, blackberry pies, things like that. She'd bring pies home all the time because it was a pie shop. But they also served food. But it was just an old school pie shop. Oh my gosh, it was just, I remember those. It's crazy because, you don't, when you're a kid, you don't really cherish those times. And then when you grow up and it's not there anymore, you go, oh man, you think about the things that you used to do when you were kids, and Mom would bring pies home and things like that. And it's like, God, you want to kind of go back to that time.
Yeah.
Well, and that reminds me of Spangers. Okay, but I always call it
Spangers.
Spanglers.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've always called it Spanglers. And my dad, man, on like a Friday night after work, he'd go to Spangers, which is on 4th Street.
Yeah.
And we get the sourdough bread and
so
the
good.
clam chowder. And oh my God, as a kid, heaven.
Okay, so as a kid, I don't know if I was just an idiot or not, but when I was at Spangers, I always thought I was on a ship.
Yeah, right, because it was very nautical.
It's very nautical. There's the little windows. So in my mind as a kid, I'm thinking I was on a ship.
Yeah,
it
fun.
was
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Now they've recently closed.
I think
it did close down
That's
from what
a
I
bummer.
understand, and I don't know if they're going to reopen.
It's one of those. That was really one of those nostalgic places that everybody is a kid.
You go in and it just smells like old wood. Like
Right.
it's just one of those places, right?
Like it should have been shut down a long time ago.
Should have been shut down.
But,
But the food was phenomenal.
but the clam chowder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I missed that place already. Just talking about it.
that's so fun.
Yeah. The last time I was there was our dad's birthday, I think.
Was that at Spangers?
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. It was a big family party. That was a few years ago. It was his 70th birthday.
Oh my God, 70. Well,
Yeah, a few years ago. But yeah, great place.
Super fun. How are we doing on time?
It's only been like 3 hours, so we're talking about
We're
food
just like,
in Berkeley.
Awesome. Okay.
Well, going back to kind of Berkeley, Albany, El Cerrito is kind of borderline with those. Where do you think that it's going in the next, maybe 5-10 years?
That's a hard one.
I know, you can't predict.
You can't predict. Again, Berkeley, Albany, those are the places that are just their own worlds, right? Like even when the market did this whole crash correction thing back in the 06, 07, these markets really didn't get hit a lot. This is doctors and lawyers. This is, we've got Pixar, we've got animators, we've got people who live there that are established. So even if the market kind of changes a little bit, they're okay. They're not moving.
And what
up.
I love is that along with that, there's also students, right?
Students.
Like you have UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
And I worked at International House.
Yeah.
Shout out to International House because that was such an extraordinary place. You had folks from all around the world living under one roof.
Yeah.
And they would purposefully put what would normally be cultures that were, historically maybe battling, and they would put those two students in the same room, in the same dorm room, and you just had this really beautiful home that probably had 300 or so students from all over the world. International House, still there.
That's fun.
And it was a great place to work. So yeah, you have, the doctors and the lawyers and the people coming in who can spend, $1 million on a 2-bedroom home, but you also have students from all around the world.
Right.
I'd never heard of Swaziland before until I
haven't heard of Swaziland either.
Until I worked at International House and met someone from Swaziland. And so Berkeley, not only International House, but Berkeley in and of itself is just like this melting pot of culture and diversity and, different, economic levels and different, backgrounds. And that's just what makes it so special. And that's why people are drawn to it and want to be there.
Yeah. So
I think, I just think it's going to get better.
I do too. I was going to say, finish this. Berkeley would be perfect for you if you're looking for what? Diversity, uniqueness,
Culture,
education, food,
beauty.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's hard to, and like I said, it's got a lot of bad press too. Like people in other states are like, how can you live there? How can it? And it's like, it's amazing. Like unless you're here and you enjoy, and we take it for granted because we're here.
Yeah.
So we don't realize how good we got it. I mean, the food and the culture and the diversity, it's quite amazing.
People literally travel here just to experience it, and it's in our backyard. It's 20 minutes from us, if that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I've got a cough, you guys. I'm
all
sorry.
right. Well, I think that's
And edit.
pretty good.
I'm sorry. I think I'm choking on pizza.
Well, in closing, if you're thinking about buying in Berkeley, selling in Berkeley, there's reasons to do so. And again, just an extraordinary place to be, not only for a day trip, right, and to get out and see the sights, but also as to be a part of its community.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Maddox Podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lubman of Painless Podcast, for helping make this podcast possible. We started this podcast so we could share our real estate insights, as well as provide our listeners with a chance to get to know the Maddox team. Our goal is to make our clients' real estate sale or purchase as simple as possible, allowing them to sit back while we handle the hard work. To learn more about what we do or to look up resources about the Bay Area communities, visit our website at maddoxrealestate.com or give us a call at 510-993-0688.